Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this latest narration of the web series The Princess and the Human. If you are new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 8, The Unifier. Whoa! Nadine exclaimed as she saw the mountain of metal through the bridge's window. Her voice, while still soft, was the loudest Sukhvani had heard of yet. On top of that, there seemed to be a slight sparkle in her eyes. The princess had no idea what this was about, but judging by the small alien's behavior, she assumed it was something positive. Impressive, right? Sukhvani asked, which was answered with a frantic nodding. How many guns does that thing have, besides the two obvious ones? Nadine said, pointing at the two gigantic twin turrets mounted on the top of the ship. Well, there are another two on the bottom. Besides those, I have no idea. Have the humans something like this? The alien girl shook her head. Only on paper. We never built them. We never encountered alien life forms, and none of our internal wars since we reached spacefaring age were big enough to make it into space. There simply was no point in us building huge warfare-capable spaceships like this one. We have some pretty impressive transport ships, but they don't come close to this. But I gotta ask, why are the sides so jagged, almost like a saw blade? Those are angled hangers. The unifier is a carrier. As the unifier slowly rotated into position, the shutters on the sides of the hangars became visible. 7 hangars on each side, so 14 in total. Each can hold up to 12 frigates. The first ones knows how many fighters, whenever can be needed. Or in our case, 100 times more than what would be needed, she added with a joking annoyance in her voice. Seriously, a light carrier would have been more than enough. Her thoughts were interrupted by a noise, and when she looked down, she realized that Nadine was laughing. Not just a slight chuckle, but an honest, heartfelt laugh. She's finally relaxing a bit. You know, Nadine started once she had calmed down. Back home, we have a saying, shooting cannons at sparrows. Sukhvani cocked her head. What are sparrows? Small birds around this size, she said, holding up her hands slightly apart. Why would you use cannons to, Oh, I get it, yes, a fitting phrase indeed. The unifier finished adjusting its position to theirs. The small radar was now facing the side of the massive carrier, and the shutter of the frontmost hangar opened. Gnat started to rotate the ship to be level with the hangar floor. See that section and the third floor there? The platforms can be retracted, and if they do that, they can even fit in a heavy cruiser into the hangar. This ship can literally carry an entire fleet on its own. Nadine looked up at her. Is that why she's called the Unifier? She? Yeah. Don't you consider named ships female? No, we don't. Why would we? Anyway, it is named after my ancestor, King Chiron the Unifier. When we made contact with alien civilizations, he advocated for Hammai should not be separated into individual kingdoms, and that we would have a better position in intergalactic politics if the planet was united. The alien girl cocked her head. So your countries just decided to unite, and then did. I wouldn't have expected the other kings to just give up their power. No, of course not, Sukhvani clarified. Chiron didn't just want one kingdom to absorb the others. His plan was to form a council that should govern the planet instead of a single ruler, and many agreed with him. But, unfortunately, not all. However, the separatists were in the minority and soon realized that their independence would mean little if over half the planet banded together. They would simply be unable to compete, be it economically or otherwise, especially if you factor in the prospect of trade with other planets. So instead, they wanted to stop the unification by force. That event today is known as the Unification War. After the war was won, the other kings were impressed by the flawless leadership Chiron had shown. They decided that the council would be too slow to react in case of an emergency, and surrendered their power to him. Ever since then, my family has ruled over the planet. Nadine's eyes became narrow. Just because they were impressed. Doesn't that sound a bit too? Her question was interrupted when Gnat finished his maneuver and opened the comm channel. Relative standstill achieved horizontal alignment, 98.3%. Landing gears are out. Understood. Initiate reverse landing. What is a reverse landing? Nadine asked, sounding confused. Instead of answering, Sukhvani simply pointed out of the window. Slowly, the Unifier crept closer, sometimes slightly correcting its course up or down, until the ship was completely encased in the empty hangar. The shutter closed, and then, even slower, everything around them seemed to move upwards until they were hovering almost directly above the ground. The comm channel opened up again. Reverse landing complete. Reactivating artificial gravity in 3, 2, 1. A jolt went through the ship as it fell to the hangar floor. Silkvani, too far away from the chair to sit down in time, had to hold onto a console to not fall over. To her surprise, though, Nadine simply stretched out her arms and moved her hips a little to compensate for the movement. Despite her weight, she had remarkable balance. The airlock opened and Silkvani exited the ship, followed directly by Nadine, to show that she was a royal guest. The rest of the crew would wait until the greeting was over. As she reached the end of the stairs, a line of soldiers was saluting her in the traditional way, 2 arms crossed behind their backs, the other in front of their chest, as they all in unison bowed their heads. "Be at ease," she told them, so they knew that they could break formation. "Where is Admiral Merton?" The soldier stepped aside and formed a corridor, revealing a veneering that was a fair bit below average in terms of height. Silkvani, who was fairly tall, was therefore forced to look down quite a bit. "How come you knew it was me, Your Highness? Do you know the command rotation schedule? If so, I am flattered." "No, but you were the only one of the admirals who was enough of a show-off to send our biggest capital ship to pick up a single raider." "Well, we would have needed to do maintenance flights soon anyway, so nothing lost." "Oh, so you have no qualms about endangering your princess by choosing a ship with which performing a reverse landing is 20 times as hard as compared to a regular carrier?" "Hardly a challenge for our pilots, and in my defense, said princess never specified the dimensions of her enemy vessel." For a while, the two of them stared at each other in silence. Then together they started laughing. Silkvani did so in a more reserved, dignified manner. But Merton, on the other hand, didn't bother to hold himself back. "It is good to see you, Uncle." "Ha ha! Likewise! All right, Sil, what happened?" "Before that," the princess stepped aside. "May I introduce you, Nadine of the humans? Nadine, this is Merton of the clan Tesvani, current First Admiral of Homai's fleet." Nadine startled to fiddle with her improvised poncho, apparently trying to get her arm free. She then stuck a weird pose, straightening her back and putting her hand to her head. "Sir." Merton laughed again. "No need to be so nervous. You're a guest of Sil, after all. But I must say it is rare that I don't have to look up." He then turned back to his niece, and his tone became more serious again. "So, an unknown sapient species and a captured enemy vessel. I assume there is a story to be told here." "You have no idea, Uncle." End of chapter. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Bushmaster 177, HenryTheRed, Casper Arnholtz, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Elijah Silvercross, Dragzoon W.R.E, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.